Hi guys, I'm Kelly.
I'm Jeff.
And welcome to Seize the Gray. We're here today going to show you some tips on how to do food prep. I know food prep is very intimidating for people. We hear about it all the time on Seize the Gray because many of you have followed my health journey. You know that I had to completely overhaul the way I ate and the way I used food to fuel my body and put myself into a good place health-wise. And I think food is a struggle for most people. Jeff and I actually had a conversation this morning. We were talking about the fact that he works out all the time.
Yep. Do my steps, average about 80,000 steps a week, and still not really losing weight.
So when it comes down to that, that's really when you got to say, okay, what am I doing? How can I do that better? And you know, what am I actually consuming? And I think that's the trouble for a lot of people. We put more in our bodies, or we put the wrong things in our bodies, and we don't even realize what that is. So I am not a nutritionist. Jeff is not a nutritionist. I'm going to share a version of what we've come up with for Jeff. Jeff is not 100% on board with this.
I'm not 100% on board.
He is not convinced this is going to work. He thinks it's a pain in the neck. I would agree with that. A fair statement. And it is. It's work up front. There's no question. I've been doing food prep for over 2 years, ever since I got hooked up with my trainer at Accelerated Fitness, and I prepare all of my meals up front. So for me, it's the one prep at the beginning of the week, and then I don't have to worry about it all week. It's grab and it's go. For those of you who are busy, for those of you who are working, for those of you who are staring at the empty refrigerator going, what am I going to feed the kids tonight? You can do a prep ahead of time, and those questions are completely answered. So I've been very, very fortunate to have great people in my life to show me about food prep, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you. All right, so I'm showing you kind of our kitchen counter. We've got all kinds of things already set up here because I'm going to do this assembly line style. We've got containers. We've got divided containers here. This is a different type of divided container. We're live here and in person. There's no, so a lot of you may see something like kind of like a bento box. And then these are just regular containers. We also have different containers that have screw-on lids because that's really good for your oatmeal if you're going to do prepping oatmeal, which we are.
These are my containers, right?
Those are your containers.
And these are my containers because I don't like my food touching. So Kelly got me special containers. All right, go ahead.
We've also got some measuring cups out because we are going to measure. We've got our cantaloupe all cut up here. We've got blueberries. We've got cottage cheese. We've got nuts. All of that is there. So let me show you that. And then over on this side, we have some salmon that kind of fell apart on the grill, but that actually works really well for our purposes. I've got some baby potatoes that I just poked a hole in and nuked for 3 minutes. Easy peasy on that. We've got a rice steamer. So if you have never purchased a rice steamer, this is just a little Black & Decker 3-cup rice steamer. Absolutely love that. And then we have some chicken breasts that we have pre-grilled. And we'll end up dicing those and cutting those into portions.
Hold on, before you go. This is our first time grilling on black mats. So on our vacation, we used to use tin foil, and the people we're staying with use mats. So we're using mats for the first time.
Yeah, a little bit more eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to show you real quick the assembly line oatmeal that we do. I'm only going to do a few of them because I've still got a couple left that we didn't use when we were on vacation last week. So we kept this really simple. Jeff gets the containers with the blue lids, blue for boy, green for girl. Sorry, it just worked easier for us to keep track of whose is whose that way. So I'm going to just take my portion. I use a half a cup of oatmeal. So I'm going to just scoop half a cup of oatmeal into my container. And then Jeff's portion is a little bigger. He gets 3/4 of a cup. So you can do your 3/4 of a cup.
So this size here is
That's a quarter cup measure.
Quarter of a cup. Yeah. Okay. Kelly normally does this for me, but since I'm going to be going through this, I figured I should do it too. It's not fair to her.
So food prep is easy. I like the assembly line production of it.
Okay,
Everybody can kind of decide what they want. So there's that. The next step that we're going to do is we put protein powder. So one thing to remember when you're doing this is protein powder is what keeps you full. So if you're not getting enough protein in the day, you're going to be hungry. So if you're hungry, go for something with some protein. If you're tired, go for something with some carbohydrates in it. So I only need 1 tablespoon of protein powder, and we use the PE Science Select protein. It's very, very clean. This happens to be the amazing snickerdoodle flavor. I love this for overnight oatmeal, which is what we would end up making here. And it works really, really well. So I'm just going to put 1 tablespoon for me because that's a good amount for me. And then Jeff's going to put 2 tablespoons in his. Bigger guy needs more protein, so he's going to drop that in. And you want to keep your scoops as level as you can. Try not to get too much extra because extra means more calories. Okay, cool. So that's done. So I'm going to move this out of our way too. So I'm a big believer in putting things away as we go. So while I put this away over on the back of the counter, Jeff's going to add 1 packet of Splenda to each of our oatmeals. See how well we're working in the kitchen together?
Just for the camera, right?
Just for the camera.
Okay.
Okay. So that's that. Now for Jeff, he's done. So I'm going to just put the lid on his. And those get stacked, and away we go. For me, I like some cinnamon. So you can add cinnamon, you can add nutmeg, you can add ginger, whatever it is you like in yours. And then those get set on the counter. Now, getting ready for the morning, what I would do, so I'm going to put my green lid on there, so I know that's green for girl. So at night, last thing I do, and I do it while I'm cooking dinner generally, or warming up dinner, is I'm going to add a cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk. It's got 30 calories per cup. And I'm going to add that to my oatmeal. And I actually know the line. I've been doing this long enough. I kind of know that this is my mark. So I would add that to my oatmeal. I put the lid on. Can you throw the white bit? And then this goes right in the refrigerator. It'll do its thing overnight, and then we are good to go. I grab that in the morning on the way to work, and that one's all set. So that's breakfast. The only other thing we will add to that you can't really prep ahead of time is egg whites. And Jeff and I will each have a cup of egg whites a day. We buy them, we actually will buy them by the case at Sam's Club. That's only like, I don't know, $5, $6 for that whole thing. So that's breakfast. The next thing we need to do is get morning snack. So Jeff and I do morning snack a little bit differently. He likes these nutrition bars. They come nutrition bags. They come pre-packaged. Each one of these has 180 calories in it. And for Jeff, he likes having his just like that. So his morning snack is one of these.
And you get, how many you get? You get 7 packs for about $6 or so at Target.
Yeah.
And so a little less than $1 a piece.
Right. And so for him, he'll put those, he'll just grab one of those. For me, my morning snack, I don't like a lot of the nuts that come in that pack. So I'm going to pre-package my almonds. So with almonds, 24 almonds has 128 calories, and that's kind of what I shoot for. So I'm just going to go down the line and I'm going to count those out. 7, 10, 13, 15, 17, 19, 22, 24. So it's just 24 at a shot. 24. There's 7. 17, 20, 24. I like this because buying a big bag of nuts is cheaper. This whole bag cost me $10, and I will get, I mean, it's 2.5 pounds of almonds. So I can do this for a very long time. That's all pre-packaged. We put the lids on, and now I've got a snack, and I'm good to go.
Morning snack, right?
Yeah, this is my morning snack. So our days start pretty early, especially when I'm teaching. So I would have my breakfast around 6:30 in the morning. My snack is around 9:30 in the morning. These all get set over here. So I just set aside on the counter. Is it a pain to have stuff on the counter? I guess, but it's less of a pain than trying to figure out what's for dinner. And we were just mentioning to each other right before we started filming, this completely gets rid of the question, what's for dinner? You know what's for dinner, and it's more than that, you don't have to cook it. It's already been done for you, so I absolutely love that. All right, so I'm also going to package.
I want to make one more point too. It also eliminates the desire to eat out during the week when you're tired. When you know you have food made for you, you're less likely to spend how much on eating out, and then once you're eating out, you're probably gaining weight that day, or at least you're not losing weight, mostly when you're eating out.
That's true. That's also very true.
Yeah.
So Jeff's afternoon snack and my afternoon snack are very, very different. I will generally go for some yogurt or something like that. Jeff loves cottage cheese, and he's a bigger guy, so he can have a whole cup of cottage cheese. So I just got a regular thing of 4% milk fat. He likes the large curd, and I'm actually going to just pre-scoop out so he doesn't have to worry about it. I'm pre-scooping a cup of cottage cheese into each container, and you'll see that cup of cottage cheese is a lot of cottage cheese.
A lot of cottage cheese. Feels
because
heavy.
he gets hungry in the afternoons. He gets super, super hungry.
You get tired around 2 sometimes.
So we want to give him that protein because he needs it.
Only 3 cups.
Yeah, so this actually was not enough, so I'm actually going to have to buy more.
Let me scoop the rest of that.
Yeah, you can use that. Scoop the rest of that out of there.
It goes in here, right?
Yep.
So that was 3 cups in, what, 16 ounces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then you just put the lid on that, and then Jeff's not worrying about whether he's had, he's not worried about portioning it out. He's not worrying about any of that kind of stuff. He's just good to go. So lids go on that. Yeah, two lids, one for that and one for that. And then you twist on.
Okay.
And boom, done. That's it. Now we're gonna do the same thing with blueberries. So we both love blueberries. Blueberries are easy to go to town on. So I'm going to portion out blueberries for both of us because I do love myself some blueberries. Sometimes I will add those to my oatmeal in the morning after when I get going. And we're just going to do a 1/4 cup. And these little cups, I found these at Target. They were 6 for $2.50. And we're big on reusing things here in this house. So I'm just going to go through assembly style. And you notice that the counter is clearing behind me as we go because it's really, really easy to put stuff together. And if you've got a partner who's helping you, it gets even easier. But this is something the kids can help you with. I don't know how many of you, I know a bunch of our friends, they have like snack bags and snack drawers for their kids, especially during the summer when everybody's home. Have your kids help you measure stuff. Let them get a sense of what quantity looks like. So
it's also a life skill for them.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It is. Absolutely, it's a life skill. So now we have, those are 1/4 cup servings of blueberries, so Jeff can grab a container of cottage cheese, a 1/4 cup of blueberries, and he's off to the races. Now the other thing I'm going to pre-do for him, I don't eat a lot of fruit. I just try to not eat a lot of sugar in general. So one of the other things that I'm going to do for Jeff is I'm going to put aside cantaloupe. He loves cantaloupe. It's a great source of nutrition. It's a powerhouse. Easy to eat a lot of it. Is there a ton of harm in that? No, but again, if we're trying to be more mindful of everything we're putting in our bodies, we want to be on top of that. So I'm just going to scoop out 2 cups into each one of these containers.
When's this for?
That you can have at any time.
So I get hungry like 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock at night. I want a snack.
Yep.
So that's where the weight gain, I think, comes in.
Yep.
Or not losing weight.
Because he'll scrounge just for whatever he finds. Whatever he can find, he'll like notch his way through that. So there's 3 days worth of cantaloupe, and he's all set with his snack. So again, portion. He knows exactly what he's going to eat. He knows exactly how that's going to work for him. All right. So now we get into the fun stuff. Now we're going to get into measuring out meals. So I've got a couple of things here. I have a food scale, and Jeff hates this. He hates the idea of measuring food, I gotta be honest.
Yep, not thrilled about it.
This is not his happy spot at all. But we're gonna do it because we're gonna try to lose some weight here. We wanna make sure that we're doing good things for our bodies. So I'm gonna do these now. When we do food like this, we can only do 4 days at a time because it just, the fish that we've cooked or the chicken that we've cooked, it goes bad. So you're just gonna kind of want to keep that in mind. This becomes easier as you go. It just becomes easier as you go. So I'm going to put together 3 lunches and 3 dinners for Jeff based on his body chemistry and kind of how much food he needs to eat in a day.
I should do it, right?
Yep, you should totally do this. So, he likes variety, so that's one of the things that we talked about. So the first thing we're going to have him do is in 3 of these, we're going to have you put 4 potatoes off to one side in 3 of these containers. So,
potatoes, huh?
yeah, just 4. Yep. So 4 potatoes, these little mini potatoes that I already pre-cooked. That has in it 110 calories, 26 grams of carbs. But it gives Jeff definitely a variation. So you can put a little salt and pepper on that, maybe a little bit of a very small amount of butter, and he's good to go. You can also season that with rosemary, which is awesome. Works out really, really well. Jeff's also going to get in his other 3 containers, because he's got 3 other containers here. So we're going to line those up. Jeff's going to get a cup of rice per container. So, and that'll go in your little side one too.
The cup, right?
Yep. So I've got a measuring cup. Jeff's gonna scoop out a cup of rice and put that in that little side because he does not like things touching.
See, that's touching right there. So a little rice right there.
That's gonna bother him,
That
so I'm gonna
bothers me.
move it out of his space because we cannot have things touching.
Nope.
So you actually make sure you put more in there because that was only a half a cup and you get a whole cup, so you might as well take it. There you go. That looks better. Awesome.
Okay.
2 and 1 more. Yeah, 1 more container over there. Sweet. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So rice is done. So now we've got to do our protein. If you remember that carbs are for fuel, protein is what keeps you full and what builds muscle. You want to make sure that you are getting a nice balance of that. Unless you have a medical condition, I'm not really a fan of eliminating carbs from your diet. That's just not healthy. You need that fuel so that you can keep going. So we're going to do a little bit of measuring. So we've got our salmon over here. Jeff actually gets 7.5 ounces of salmon in his meal. So you can decide what you want to do with that. So we're going to turn on our food scale.
Okay.
And I'm going to show him because he's not done this before. So I'm going to take some of this salmon.
So this dish doesn't weigh anything?
It includes it. So once you
okay.
turn it on, it includes the weight.
That's important.
It accounts for that. So you want to know that your scale is accounting for the weight of the dish that you're using. So I'm going to start scooping salmon into this bowl on top of our scale. Until we get to 7.5 ounces. You notice how much I'm scooping? Oh, here's a big one, so I'm going to drop that in there. That's at 6.7.
Good.
Here's another big one. So it's 7.9, so I can take a little bit out. And there we go. So I'm at 7.7. I'm not going to be super crazy about this, but that's a lot of food. So if you look, you can see how much salmon that is for Jeff. That's a ton of salmon. Do you want it in with potatoes or do you want it in with rice?
Rice.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
there
I'll
we
do
go.
this next one.
So you can go ahead and do the next one. And I'm just going to cover this one.
Okay, that's good. 6.5.
That's no 7.5. So you get 1 more ounce.
7.5?
Yep.
Okay.
So pick a little one.
That's pretty good. See how little that little bit changes the scale.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, cool. You're good.
Okay.
So where do you want it? Rice or potatoes?
Let's do 1 more rice.
1 more rice. Okay.
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 And I'll make sure you have enough salmon for you too.
Don't worry about it. There's plenty there.
Okay. So we're doing 3 salmon, 3 chicken?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that what you're
So I'll
thinking?
give you salmon for lunch or dinner, or you can have 1 in for one and 1 for the other.
Okay.
So it's important that you kind of get a sense of this because I'll show you the difference in a minute between the portion for Jeff and the portion for me. My portion size is only 5 ounces. Doesn't seem like that would be a lot, that extra 2.5 ounces, but it makes a big difference in terms of levels of protein and in terms of calories. So Jeff's doing his 7.5 ounces. Okay, you want that one in your potatoes?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So that was 3 things of salmon.
This is salmon. All right.
And do you know?
So I'm going to take just this container here because it'll be easy for me to work with.
Okay.
And I'm going to put together 5 ounces. Now, when I first started with weight loss, my protein was at 3. Now I've got a lot more muscle, so I can support a little bit more protein. All right, so here's my portion of protein, and there's Jeff's. Jeff's got a ton more than I do in there, so that works very, very well. I also get less rice than he does. I eat far fewer potatoes than Jeff. I'm more of a rice person. I just like it better than I like potatoes, and I'm only going to do half a cup of rice in my container.
I guess if you're wondering too, I'm 6 foot and about 233. So if there's a frame of reference there.
Yep. and I'm 5'5", and I run roughly 5'5" and a half, and I run roughly 130. So that's the difference. So here's a meal for me. There's a meal for Jeff. The only other thing that I will do differently, and this is again because I don't really care and Jeff does, I will take 2 cups of greens, and I don't put them in this far ahead. I'll put them in the night before. I'll take like 2 cups of fresh spinach, and I will drop that in on top of mine, and then when I nuke it at work or here, it steams the spinach. So I have freshly steamed spinach, and I add that right in over the top of mine. So there's one for me. And then here's my next one.
Maybe short on the next one.
That's okay. That's all right.
Not that short. Let me see how much.
Not that short.
Let me see how much you got.
I'm gonna put my 2 scoops of rice. So I'm at 3.5 ounces. So, oh no, what do? I didn't make enough. I'm not gonna go out and cook more salmon. So I will make up the difference on that with a little bit of chicken.
You gotta bring it oil.
Yeah, it's not really. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit of chicken.
She's putting the chicken in with the salmon.
I'm putting the chicken in with the salmon.
And that's something I would never do.
Yeah, Jeff would rather like chew nails than have that. So I'm going to make sure that I add that little bit of chicken in over on the top of mine. Yay! And that's great. And I'm actually going to take this right out of here because I don't need the division today. And I'm just going to drop that in. I'm going to drop in my rice. 1, 2. And now my rice is done. There. All right. Last thing I'm going to show you guys, we have to deal with the chicken. So I'm going to use a plate, and I'm going to zero out my scale. Hang on, let me zero out my scale.
So I just cut in half for.
So before we start cutting, what I want to show everybody. So a lot of times, so here's an entire grilled chicken breast. Okay. And a lot of people would throw a whole one of those on their plate and think, that's great. I'm just having a boneless, skinless chicken breast. And this is probably about the size you'd get if you went out to dinner. You might get lucky you get one of these, which is a little bit bigger. So this particular entire chicken breast is 5.4 ounces. So for me, if we're making my meal, this is a great one for me. For Jeff, that's not enough. But let's say you got this great big one. This great big one is 8.3. So that's more than even Jeff needs, and it's almost double what I would.
I'd eat that without even thinking twice.
Right, and I think most people would.
Yeah.
So you've got to really, really watch that. We want to get Jeff down to 7.5. I'm going to try to eyeball it and see how good I am. Ooh, see, I'm used to my portion. So that's a 5-ounce portion. Now I've cut that great big one down to this. This is a 5-ounce portion. Not enough for Jeff. So I'm going to add a smaller piece on there and see if I can't. That's 6.6. So this one takes a little bit more getting used to. 7.6. There's Jeff's chicken. I'm going to pop that in with his potatoes. And now Jeff's got chicken and potatoes. Okay. I'm going to take this 5-ounce one. This was 5.5. That's going to get me real close. 6.6.
All right, we're done for the week now. We're done till Thursday. No food conversation. It just is. We already know what we're eating. This is it.
Here's Jeff's. Let's see what this last one is. 5.2.
Where's yours at?
7.7. I'm going to let him have that extra 0.2 of an ounce. And boom. There we go. So that's it. So Jeff's all done. We've got his meals. We're just going to lid those up. I think you guys get the idea. You don't need me to show you the rest of mine. But that's it. So that is now snacks for both of us for a week. Breakfast for both of us, well, for 4 days. Let's say for 4 days.
4 days,
So
yeah.
breakfast for 4 days, snacks for 4 days, lunches for 4 days, dinners for 4 days. Boom, we're done. And that's it. So, was that so bad?
No, we'll give it a shot, see how it looks, see how much weight we lose this week.
So we'll give you an update at the end of the week. Jeff's starting off at
2:33.
2:33 this morning is what he's starting off at. So we'll see how this goes for a week with no other gnashing, no other crazy, and see what we get.